Hey there, back with you on the Bronx Buzz. I am thrilled because one of my friends, listen, when you put your friends on TV, it's a nice thing. But one of my buddies, Ron Turner, is with us. He's at the Focal Point Gallery on City Island. Ron, always nice to see you because it's nice to see you, but also because you always have great stuff going on there at the Focal Point Gallery. And usually it's either bringing kids in or other community people. But this one is like a Ron Turner celebration. Tell us about then and now.
Well, it's good to see you, and you have been a good friend for many of those years, and I appreciate that. And you've been a big supporter of the gallery by asking me to come on your show, frequently. So I'm celebrating 50 years of Focal
50.
Point Gallery.
Let me just underscore that. 50. 50 years, man. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. Anderson, put him back on the camera. I couldn't resist. I wanted to put an underline under the number 50. Go ahead.
Yes. So I came to City Island in 1974. I had a dream of opening up a gallery to exhibit my work and then to exhibit other people's work, other artists who I felt needed to have their work seen. So over the years, that's what I've been doing, giving exhibitions, and uh, they average from about, I would say, 10 times a year out of the year, 12 months, I think about 10. And you multiply that by 50, but that's how many shows
500 shows.
mounted and climbed up that ladder. That's what's kept me
Just curious, I don't think I've ever asked you this before. Were you an artist beforehand, or opening Focal Point Gallery really moved you to the next level?
I think moving to Focal Point Gallery and living on City Island has matured me as an artist. I came.
Well, you are 50 years older. Let's.
Yeah, no, I was involved in photography for more than 5 years before coming to City Island with the dream. I came straight out of photography school. I went to Jermaine School of Photography down in the city, which
Here
was
we go.
school.
Here's
Yep,
the
that's
photograph
the lower right-hand corner.
with the hair.
Long hair. I had hair back then, and those are my friends. We were taking our lunch break. And so right after I graduated, I took part in a arts and crafts fair on City Island, the very first one, which was organized by Warren Sonberg, who created what was called back then the Renaissance Association.
Wow.
So somehow I got on their mailing list and came out here to show my work, my portfolio, straight from school. And the response was overwhelming. The people were wonderful that I met there. I set up my work during the Arts and Crafts Fair, sold a picture to Peter Coyle. He bought my very first picture.
Wow.
We
It's
became
fun. It's amazing to me that you remember all the names. I do want to mention, which we'll mention again. There is an opening reception on Saturday at 1:00. Right?
Yes. Yes.
I am planning to be there. Um, and so people are all invited, and there's going to be music, as you can see, and all that kind of stuff. But just going back in history, so then we have another picture of your first gallery at 296 City Island Avenue. It's a self-portrait from 1974.
Right. Well, that's me. That's how I lived in the back of my gallery. It was a huge space. The front was the gallery, the middle was a studio and dark room, and the back is where I lived. The only problem with the space is it didn't have heat or hot water. So
A little issue, yeah.
yeah, little problem. So I installed that potbelly stove, and then the copper coils was the
Wow.
idea of a friend a scientist that I knew from Albert Einstein, who said, you can get hot water if you put copper coils around it. And Peter Coyle, the gentleman who bought my very first photograph, and he was like one of my first friends that I made on City Island, was a plumber.
And
And
he got it done for you.
so He did the copper coils around the stove for hot water.
So the theme is then and now. So that's the then, but now there's another picture of you living somewhere else, right? So there you are, and we'll just say it,
With
and we'll
my
put the,
dog, now Monita.
okay. So I'm just going to say it. So this one is a picture of you living above the gallery now, right? And you're
Right.
at 321 City Island Avenue. For anybody who doesn't know, right there in downtown City Island. You got to at minimum stop by and say hello to Ron anyway, which is what I do when you go to have dinner or lunch or whatever. You come to the Bronx Music Podcast at the Artist. You can stop by and see Ron, but also be there on Saturday. Now, what about a picture of? Let's talk about mom. Now, you
Yeah.
communicated to me, and I had no idea. This is a picture of you with your mom. Your mom is not well right now.
No, unfortunately. Then I did a self portrait. That the first one was a picture of me and my mom many years
Then,
ago.
and
That
then there's
that
one
was
of her
then.
now.
And now my mom is dying. I made a promise to her that she could die at home. And that picture, I did a self portrait. This is brand new. That picture, I did that just yesterday.
Wow.
What's important about that picture, it tells quite a story. I'm keeping my promise to her. She's she's hanging in there, and I think she's going to hang in there to be alive for me to celebrate officially 50 years. She's been a major supporter. She's been my go-to person. Um, I've run every idea by her. She has opinions about everything. Sometimes
like
she's,
everybody's mom. Yes.
but you know what happens? Even though I don't agree, in the long run, she always ends up being right.
Moms always know best.
Right.
And I know you did communicate to me that even though this is a difficult time for her, she had told you get that 50th party done, and that's what you're going to do one way or the other.
Right.
Right.
The thing that she used to do for all my openings from the very beginning, she used to bake cookies. And I think people came just for her cookies. So
Well,
I
you'll
won't have
will
her cookies, but she'll be here in spirit.
she certainly will, and you'll be carrying that on. Now there was another picture of grandma, I think, that we do
Yes.
have that picture.
Um, that's Ann Kellogg, my grandmother. That's my mother's mother. And that picture was done in 1973. She's the reason why I became an artist. That's her in her studio and in front of one of her paintings. I grew up watching her paint. I wanted to become a painter originally, but when I held a camera, it was an immediate response that I was going
This
to
is
put
what you got
myself
to do.
first.
You know what I want to jump off from there, and we have featured them before. Ron, and I'll give you just one example. Ron every morning goes out to Orchard Beach with his dog and takes pictures of people he has seen there. And one of the things, excuse me, one of the things, and I'm going to be the one to articulate this very clearly. You are an incredible photographer of portraits. You take portraits of families on Mother's Day. You take portraits of all the people, just about everybody on City Island has had a portrait taken of them. And so that portrait of your grandmother will use that to just illustrate that you are just an absolute legendary portrait taker. I don't know what the
Well,
term is,
thank you.
but
Thank
really, Ron has just so you got to stop by Focal Point anyway and see those portraits. They're everywhere. They're on T-shirts. I mean, he's got the whole thing done, and you've just been one of the most important artists, I think, in the borough of the Bronx for 50 years. I want to show. Let's see. Did we have another picture? Was there one other picture that Ron sent? I forget already. Was there one other? Yes,
you.
this one. Explain what this is, and there are
Right.
some of those hanging behind you.
So this is the exhibition. Well, not just this piece, but my concept was I wanted to go through the different areas of photography and see what I've done and what I've accomplished within the 50 years. and I realized I'm still producing at the same time. That's why the title Then and Now.
Then and now, yeah, that makes
So
sense.
this is a set of boxes, specifically cigar boxes. I've been collecting cigar boxes, and I want to mention the cigar store on City Island was very, very helpful. They were very, very good by giving me
The
cigar
boxes,
boxes.
yeah.
So the idea was to edit and select what I thought represented an area of interest. And
So
in
when people come on Saturday at 1 o'clock and hang out and get the music and a couple of bites to eat, they'll also see that. Now I want to do what I think was one of my favorite, because they're all my favorite, but one of my favorite art projects that you did was this project of Bronx women, of City Island women, and you made plaster casts out of them, and then ultimately turned them into lamps. And there were a bunch of them. How many of these did you do?
Oh my! I think I made at least 5 lamps, and I think more than 25 body sculptures. I
Wow.
call them photo sculptures because after the casting, I would take and create the photograph that I would wrap around the casting.
Oh,
But
so
I didn't
that's what
put
those are,
transfer.
photos. Wow. Listen, Ron, we could. I got a bunch of pictures of those. I remember them when that came out, and we
Yeah.
double checked the date was June 2020. But you've been a great artist, and Saturday is a way to celebrate the importance of art in the Bronx. You bring kids in, let them display their artwork. You bring communities in. You take pictures of people, and you have just been a dear friend and a great artist in the Bronx. Congratulations. I will be there like everybody else who's watching at 1 o'clock on Saturday. We'll have a good time and we'll celebrate Ron Turner, the Focal Point Gallery, and the importance of art in our borough of the Bronx.
Thank you. I just want to say one thing. I thank you for your support. I couldn't have done this without the support of City Island. It's why I love City
Yes.
Island. And of course, my parents and my mom, particularly. I love you, Mom. Thank you so much.
I never met her, but I love her too. How about that? All the best. All right, that is going to do it for the Bronx Buzz. We thank Christine from the Mott Haven Herald and Hunts Point Express for joining us, and of course Ron, who's just blood and guts, roots for the Bronx, and that's what he does. And so that's it. We'll see you next week. The creek don't rise and the curtain don't fall. We'll be here. Good night.